What is up, everyone? Deejus here, and I'm excited to bring you a totally new series, Into the Weeds with Deej. So basically, I know some of y'all had some questions about my 10 minutes climbing the rating ladder videos because you want some more in-depth stuff on how to pull off all those tactics I talk about in the videos. Because they're very short and each segment's covered like a minute or two. So I decided to create this more in-depth series to discuss really important topics to improving your advanced forwards by web game. So this series is different from everything else in the other videos because it is interactive. That is right, you guys are going to be involved in this. There's going to be some questions for y'all. You're going to have to figure out the answers, and you tally a score. If you get something right, you get a point. If you don't, you get it wrong, you get nothing. At the end of the video, you're going to tally your score, and it's going to tell you how well you did. Also, this video is completely unscripted. Pretend that's a piece of paper. So we're just in it right now. So this video is going to be covering infantry walls and the move planner. And these two topics go like hand in hand. So I think you're going to have a really good time with this video. So I want you all to pay attention. Close up those tabs of watching a cute kitten on YouTube. Finish writing that Pornhub comment. Get your full attention for this video because you're going to learn a lot in this video. So I hope you're all ready. Let's get it. Alright, example number 1. This match was a game between myself and in one of the many tournaments I've been in. The map is called Despair Forlorn, and it's a knockoff of a map, A Hope Forlorn, which I personally hate. Anyway, for our first question, before we get into the infantry walls, before we even get to the move planner, I want you to see if you notice anything about this map. Specifically, what building is missing from this map that may influence infantry walls in the move planner. I'll give you a hint, it is not the HQ. So if you want, you can pause the video right here, try to figure out what building is missing from this map right here. Alright, the answer was a comm tower. That is what is missing from this map. Now we have a harder follow-up question. Since there was no comm tower, that influenced why I picked Eagle over Max. Because there is a very wide open center over here, so Max seems like the logical pick. However, because there was no comm tower, I picked Eagle. Now, I want you to try to figure out why did I pick Eagle because there was no comm tower. I'll give you a hint, because since this is a harder question, it has to do with the theme of this video. And you can pause the video now and see if you can try to figure out why. Alright, the answer is because comm towers are bad for infantry walls, and since there is no comm towers, infantry walls can flourish. Let me show you why. There's a few calculations that are important when doing this matchup. Max's tanks do not one-hit KO infantry on roads, shoals, where they have no defense. Number 2, Max's CO power will not one-hit KO infantry on plains. So wall breaking is a lot tougher without a comm tower than with a comm tower. So typically when there's less comm towers, I love infantry walls even more. But if there's a lot of comm towers, infantry walls are typically not as effective. Similarly, if you were picking Grim, infantry walls are basically terrible because they just fall apart. They are susceptible to tons of one-hit KOs. So typically, rule of thumb, less comm towers, better for infantry walls, better artillery, etc. More comm towers, more tanks, more just smashing things, etc. Okay, that was a nice intro, but now let's get into the actual application of the move planner and infantry walls. So I fast forwarded to turn 10 in this game, and I make a mistake on this turn. In an effort to prevent him from recapturing this property over here, which should be his, it's on his side of the board, I make some stupid mistake. I attack this penguin here, and I move my tank over here in an effort to prevent this penguin from capturing my property right there. However, this is a mistake, and assuming we have no idea what he will do on his turn, we can use the move planner to assume what he would do. So if you want to use the move planner, it's very simple. All you have to do is press this button here at the top, whether it's in a replay, whether it's in an active game, etc., and it will open a fresh new tab for you to look at the move planner. I also recommend downloading the Saltor Move Planner add-on for Chrome, Firefox. They have it all. I personally use Firefox, doesn't matter though. And it will actually help you with a few new features such as showing your movement, which is very nice, unweight all, as well as a host of other features which I greatly appreciate. Now, here's the part where I'll show you how I use the move planner. So this one there's no homework on this one. I just want to show you what I would do if I'm assessing what he would do as an attacker. So my goal is blue. I want to kill this tank and I want to capture this property. So let's just say my lazy first attempt. Go over here and attack. There's also a damage calculator over here if you don't know the actual damages. So you can hold down A for attacker, hold down D for defender, and it will fill in all the information for you. It generally says that this will do 46 to 52 damage, putting it at 5 or 6 HP. Let's say it goes down to, say, 5. We got lucky. Say I attack this penguin over here, hold down A, D. It'll do around 2 damage, and it'll come back and do around 3 damage. So I'll get down to 2, and it'll get down to like 6. And this tank comes in here, kills that. This tank comes in here, kills that, and the infantry caps over here. So that's our first attempt over here. But the thing about the move planner is it will show, it's like chess. You can find a good move, but there might be a better move out there. So let's say I'm green over here, I have some counterattacks. I can attack this tank over here, and I can like move my artillery over here. I can interrupt the cap with this infantry, etc. And that's not that great. So let's see if we can find a better way to go about this than the first one. So to do a redo, basically all you have to do is refresh the page, and it will refresh everything for you. So this time, we're going balls to the wall. We're attacking this infantry over here, knocking it down to 6. Whatever, put this down to like 2. We're killing this infantry over here. Killing this tank over here, knock it down to 6. We're knocked down to like 8. And then we wrap this tank over here around like that, and now we cap. So now there's no tank on the shoal over here that'll take a beating. He will have to attack into a tank on a city, which is a losing trade for him, because I will have the city at defense and I have max tanks. My weakened unit is defended over here, and this tank is completely defended by this black boat. He can attack in with the infantry, but there's a lot of counterattacks. These tanks over here, I didn't even bother moving those yet. But see, as you can see, you might find a good move, but there's often an even better move. So the move planner really helps out in finding that really better move. So let's see what LOM actually did during the game. So LOM actually did something very similar. Attack the infantry over there, attack the tank over there, killing it. Attack from the top first, that's where it's different. I would have attacked from the forest first since you have more defense, and it'd probably maybe knock it down to 9 maybe, or 8, you know, it could be like 8.5 instead of 8.1, like. But generally the same idea. I have no doubt in my mind that LOM used the move planner in order to do this attacking sequence, because it's a very smart attacking sequence. And he punished me for it. I lost a tank for basically nothing. Down to 9 HP now with the black boat healing it, so basically it's like nothing ever happened and I lost a tank. So that is how you effectively use a move planner. Okay, so now that LOM used infantry walls and the move planner to his advantage, I am an early hole in the game, down one entire vehicle, and it's only turn 11. So I need to fall back and use infantry walls to my own advantage to come back in this game, because I am seriously losing at this point, losing a vehicle. So I withdraw all my units, and I start a nascent or early stages of an infantry wall. Start to get some artillery in place, and I cobble together some crap right here. I have like a 3 HP infantry, and some of my tank is exposed. The trick is, if you're cobbling together an early infantry wall, say you don't have enough infantry in place, what you want to do is leave your units that aren't protected by infantry out on defended properties, like at least a forest, you know, with 2 stars of defense terrain, or a city is even better with 3. So like, actually none over here. Okay, I left this one that's a little weak on the shoal, but it does have artillery backup. But as you can see over here, I didn't put my tank over here on this road. I instead placed it on the city over here. So if you don't have enough infantry, cobble together something and put your units on like at least some defensive terrain. So basically he allows me to get this infantry wall. I'll skip ahead a bit. As you can see, it's starting to form. I have like a feed of infantry starting to form over here just to supply. Like I said earlier, now I have my tanks. They are exposed, but the ones that are exposed either have artillery backup or they are on properties. So you can see like the stages of an infantry wall. Like this is cobbled together. Slowly, it's getting stronger and stronger. He's allowing it, which was his main mistake. He's forming his own infantry wall, but he has no artillery, so it's not as strong as mine. And slowly, now look at this. This is a beautiful infantry wall. Let's look at the features of this. So I have a feed of infantry continuously coming in. This infantry wall is also very stout. There is no position in my infantry wall that can be attacked twice. So this infantry cannot only be attacked from the front by any of these units. You cannot attack this one on the mountain from multiple sides, etc. There is no cracks. The only way you can break through is if you one-hit KO one of the infantry, which is impossible as max without using your anti-air. So let's say, theoretically, let's go to the move planner. Say he gets feisty with the anti-air and attacks this infantry and kills it. And then comes in with this tank and does, I don't know, let's be generous, says 9 hull damage. Well, that's great and all, but my infantry wall is largely intact. I will kill both of these units, and then I'll just, you know, let's say I remove them both. They both died to tank somehow. I'll just move infantry down here. Infantry over here. This will be healed to 10 probably. And then I just keep feeding it in. Like, I have more infantry. If they say this one dies too, I can just shuffle this one over here. Like, it's not a big deal. If something gets hurt on the infantry wall, blast whatever attacked, just fill it in. And as the game goes on, my infantry wall holds. And just my units get stronger and stronger and more built up. I have B-copters, I have tons of artillery. It's not stopping. I have so many units. It's just more and more. I've breached 200,000 units because this infantry wall is just so strong. Nothing can break through it. He attacked a few times, I believe. But like I said, he just cycle out the unit. No big deal. There is no holes. It is a super sound infantry wall. The only way you can really break through is if you use a max power, but even that is not guaranteeing much at a certain point. Right now, it's too late. You can kill an infantry in one hit, great. Maybe you can kill an artillery in one hit if you're lucky too on a shoal, but there's artillery on planes that won't be one-hit KO'd. There's units on cities that won't be one-hit KO'd, and then I will have a lightning strike, and a lot of damage is coming your way. So infantry walls are really good for stalling out the game. I especially love them as in playing Eagle, Olaf, any of the stally COs. I don't really use infantry walls for like Kindle and Max. Really aggressive COs that might not use artillery as much. But COs like Eagle, perfect. I also recommend using infantry walls in situations where you have at least 3 bases, so you can actually pump out infantry. If it's just a 2-base map, making enough infantry is going to take forever. Like, as you can see, I have 44 units because it's a 3-base map in an airport. But if there was 2 bases, I'd probably only be at like 30 units. And so you want to make sure that the map and the amount of bases really goes hand in hand with your ability to make infantry walls. So if this is 2-base map, I'd probably go max instead, to be perfectly honest, because infantry walls just aren't as viable, even without the comm tower. So to recap, when you want to build an infantry wall, first you need to have a steady feed of infantry coming in. If you're going to cobble something together at the beginning, just put together what infantry you can and make sure none of your vehicles can get a free hit on them unless they are defended by artillery or they're on defensive properties like this, until you can get enough infantry to slowly come in. Now, see, now I have more artillery backup, etc. And then slowly it gets stronger, and then it just holds the rest of the game. And then I'll show you in action what happens. I get my super and I just annihilate my opponent because I have so many units saved up as Eagle. It's just, that's how you use an infantry wall. And I was losing at the beginning too. I was absolutely losing. I was down a unit early in the game. Lom had all the offensive pressure. He's played really well in this match until my infantry wall came into play. Now let's look at some really fun stuff. So my favorite part about the move planner is what if scenarios. What did Lom do wrong? How could he have prevented this infantry wall? So let's go into that. So the trick to beating infantry walls is to not let them get set up in the first place. So let's look at Lom's turn on turn 11, where I think he lost some momentum. So let's see what he did originally. He basically just moved his tanks over here and created his own infantry wall. But as Max, like I said earlier, you don't really need to create infantry walls. You don't have any artillery, etc. So let's see what he could have done instead. So let's go to the move planner. And now I'm playing as Lom. What you want to do is create offensive pressure and not allow this infantry wall. So what you want to do is move your tanks in position. You have the tank advantage, so you're not too scared of getting a first strike off, or your opponent getting a first strike off on you. You can heal this with the black boat. Move it to 10. Let's see. Don't want to go in the city because there's artillery, but you want to have a lot of pressure. Heck, I'd even say there's fine. You might even want to put infantry here to prevent another attack on this tank. It allows the artillery hit, but I'll show you how devastating it can be. So you move all your tanks forward. Basically, you're YOLOing it. When you have the lead as max, you want to take full advantage. You might even see a little pincher strike over here with this one going over here. Let's say you build 2 more tanks. So now we're doing war games. We're doing theoretical scenarios, which is my favorite part of Advanced Wars. What could you do differently? And it can alter like everything else. I like war games. They're just super fun. So now, let's say this theoretically is the turn for Lom. Now it's my turn as green. So, let's see. Unweight all. Now it's green's turn. So now I'm playing as myself, and I'm like, oh crap, there is a lot of tanks here. Let's say I choose to fire on this infantry. Knock it down to 1. I start withdrawing my tanks over here. Kill off this. And I move this forward. This will probably be at 10 since it's healed. Trying to cobble together the infantry wall. See, I'm not fully set yet, but I still have this right there. Let's say this one fired, so I can move this one over here. Got to defend over here because this tank is threatening. Go over here, maybe attack this tank over here, get it down to 6. This will go to 7. This is just the average roll. Maybe defend this tank over here. Build a tank and under artillery. And this copter over here. And keep this right here because you're kind of threatened. Move this tank like right there. So that's what you want to do as me in this scenario. There's probably better moves. I'm just giving you my first inclination. Maybe you fall back. It would be a better move. I'm trying to hold my ground here, but if you fall back, you can cede this middle property, which Max would gain. And also he would threaten these 2 properties over here. So falling back is not always the answer. Now let's say we're Lom again. It's your turn now, and you have the tank advantage. Now it's time to wreck stuff. And Lom, by the way, had 2 power bars at this point, slightly over 2, so he's close to the power. So here's what I would first do. This tank over here goes kaplowers. Knocks it down to 3. Knock down to 8. This tank over here, let's see, what else can we do? This tank over here goes into this tank over here. Knocks it down. No, it would be more than that. It would go down to 5 probably, and we go down to 8. This tank over here, let's say at this point you're pretty close to a power. I'd say you probably would be at power at this point from taking all this damage over here and dealing all this damage. So at this point you have a power. Move this tank in. Nope. Actually, let's attack this infantry right here. 1 hit KO. Let's say we have the power at this point. Which I think you would have the power. At the very least, you could do some infantry attacks just to make sure you have enough power. But let's say we have it at this point. This is a 1-hit KO. Watch. Attacker. Defender. Okay, a small chance that it's not 1-hit KO, but it will be in the majority of scenarios. 1-hit KO that artillery. Then we bring this one in. Let's see how much it does with the power. Oop. Attacker, defender. 70. So this will knock it down to 2 HP. Then we have this one over here. This one's going to do a lot, probably knock it down to like 2 HP too. We have the movement bonus from this, so this probably reaches this property over here. Movement bonus from this probably reach over here. For the sake of fun, we attack this infantry here. Take some damage in return. And we are threatening. Actually, you don't even need to move this here. You can just have this infantry over here. Freely capture this because there's too much to deal with right now. You have the power up. And look, I've already blasted through this whole line right here. This is scary. And this is not even the best move possible. Like, I could have probably found a way to kill off this tank over here. Oh yeah, I could have attacked this tank and then like brought something back to kill that artillery. Anyway, the thing is, you need to stop artillery walls early, and the move planner will allow you to do that, to figure out a way to take advantage of your early momentum and to really punish. In this situation, I think Lom got a little too scared and held back a bit because my infantry wall was forming, but you want to do the exact opposite. When you sniff out that small sense that they're going to start building up an infantry wall, as an Eagle player specifically, you want to attack, attack, attack. Now this is a lot more devastating. And like artillery, like they have to sit and shoot. So if this one, say, shoots at one of these tanks, it's going to be completely vulnerable the next turn. And notice how I have half the tanks because I built so much artillery that my opponent does. These are also going to be moving over here and be in the action within the next 2 turns. So this is a lot more scary for green than right here. This is, I'm very comfortable at this point. I got 3 artillery set up right here. I got my tanks. I got some anti-air. I got the copters about to come in. This is a lot scarier. And like I said earlier, it's so much fun just going through like scenarios where you could like, oh yeah, this is going to be capping. What could have happened, what you could have done, what your opponent could have done that could have punished you. So I recommend going through the move planner, not just if you're like winning a game or not winning it, playing a game. Sometimes it's just fun to see scenarios like, what would happen if that happened instead of this? So I hope you learned a lot from this example right here. Now we're going to look at a different game. We're going to talk in a different perspective about breaking through infantry walls. All right, before we move on to the next example, I got another quiz question for y'all. I talked about it earlier, but other than making sure your infantry are not one-hit KO'd and everything's vulnerable, what are the 2 main features of a great infantry wall? You can pause the video if you want. So the 2 features are, you want to have a continuous infantry feed to make sure that if an infantry over here is damaged, you can just move it back, replace it with another, so you have a nice strong feed over here. The most important thing of all, though, is making sure they cannot be attacked from multiple angles. If this black boat wasn't here and there was an infantry there, it would not work because it could be attacked from multiple fronts, breaking through, and start attacking everything. But there is no seams. It is unbreakable. There is a 0% chance you break through this in 1 turn without using the anti-air, and even if you do use the anti-air, it's not that effective. So in this situation, the no seams is really what makes the infantry wall. So no seams and making sure you have a feed, so if he does weaken infantry, you can cycle them out, because if you don't cycle them out, then they'll be at 6, 7 HP, and then you can easily one-hit KO them at 6, 7 HP. So you want to make sure you have a feed, and you want to make sure you have no gaps, no vulnerabilities in your infantry wall. Anyway, time to get into another example, and this one will be in fog. Alright, now it's time to reverse the roles. In this matchup, I'm Drake, I'm against Incugg, one of the best fog players at the moment, as Rachel. We're on the map 1 vs 1 Feshui, which is known for multiple choke points. As you can see right here, 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 and here. A lot of choke points with the bridges as well. So in this matchup, Incugg is about to capture this property over here. It is my turn. He has created an infantry wall over here with artillery backup and another infantry over here with tanks, etc. It's a very strong infantry wall. However, infantry walls in fog are much harder to pull off than infantry walls in standard play, because as a defender, you have imperfect information about what your opponent has. You don't know how many units they have, you don't know what type of units they have, you don't know in what positions the units are. So typically, I still use infantry walls a little bit in fog, but mostly I focus on standard play, because so much can go wrong as a defender in fog, especially when you have the strong side, weak side. If your opponent suddenly has a strong side where you expected a weak side, your infantry wall is going to get blasted to pieces. So knowing at least what your opponent's strong side is versus their weak side is a must-have if you're going to be building an infantry wall. Now, let's look at right here at this example. All right, y'all know the deal. Time to open that handy-dandy move planner, baby. So since this is a replay, it will show all my opponents what you normally would not see in the fog. So take that part with a grain of salt. Let me show you what was going through my head originally without using the move planner. I normally do not use the move planner in fog, foolishly, and now I have started to use it more and more, and it has greatly influenced my gameplay. So my default before using the move planner was this. I'd attack this infantry with the tank, and then I'd attack with this infantry over here. You don't even need to calculate it, that'll die. I'd sack my recon, prevent the cap over here, move my artillery to make sure that it doesn't get capped later. You know, create like a nice little wall. Move my artillery over here, tank. Like, that's fine. I prevent the property from capping. I lose my recon most likely, and it continues off as a stalemate. That is my first inclination without using the move planner. And that is what I would have done. I know for a fact this was my first inclination. However, I decided to use the move planner for once in Fog, and I am damn glad that I did. So, let's go back to the game itself. Since, like I said earlier, Incugg had imperfect information about this match, there are 2 units specifically that he did not have information on, and I was very careful not to show information that are crucial for this attack to be even better. Like that first thing was like a B-. That first thing, it prevents the cap, I lose a recon. If I was grading that, it gets a B-. So here's another question for y'all for the Deej quiz. What 2 units will be crucial to making this an even stronger offensive to break through that infantry wall? I'll give you a short bit to pause. So the 2 units that Incugg did not know about that are crucial, and I was very careful, are the copter and the Antiair. I hid the Antiair out of recon range very carefully. See? Right on the edge. Never saw it here. He had recon here earlier, right on the edge there. I am very good at sneaking stuff by. I've told y'all before in the past, I am the master of sneak. Anyway, going on with that. He does not know about this Antiair. I was very careful. Does not know about this battlecopter. So we can utilize that to break through the infantry walls. Part 2 of the question is, why are the B-copter and the Antiair the important units in this offensive? Why are they different from, say, a tank or a recon? I'll give you a second. You can pause the video. So the reason why they're important is because Antiair can one-shot these infantry while the tanks cannot. And the B-copter is important because it is the only unit that can attack from this river right here. There's no infantry that can go in and attack here. It is the only unit to traverse this river right here, allowing an alternate angle of attack that Incugg did not originally plan. And I know I've said it multiple times in the past videos, Antiair don't attack infantry, Antiair don't attack infantry. Sometimes there are exceptions, and this is one of the exceptions. When you see a strong attack, you can use your Antiair to kill off an infantry. Granted that it is defended, and that you still do have a check for a copter. Say you had a copter over here, and my Antiair was killed, I would still have my own copter to defend against that other copter. So I had a backup plan if the Antiair died. I had my own copter to fight other copters. But in general, Antiair do not attack infantry, but in certain situations where it is crucial, there's a, 95% of the time, don't attack with the Antiair. 5%, this is the 5%. Have at it, boys and girls. All right, now it's time for the fun part. Hit our handy dandy move planner. So now let's plan out an attack. So as I said earlier, my default was to attack with a recon, etc. Now let's look for a better attack. That was a B-. Let's look for something better. So let's utilize this Antiair over here. Let's say I kill this off. Let's say I kill off this infantry here with the tank. I attack right here. So this is, let's say, sorry, move this back wherever it was. Move here. Move here. And I attack this artillery. That's pretty nice. However, this isn't the best. This is like a B+. Because this tank over here is not defended by any of the artillery. It's out of artillery range. It can get blasted by some tanks without any real fear. This tank over here can wrap around, attack this artillery. Even if you moved an infantry over here, he has enough counterplay where it can probably just wrap around. Like, see? It can be attacked. So this is a B+. And, like, this is better. This is still better than the original. You get to attack the artillery over here. You break through the wall, etc. But let's look for the best move. And I think I found the best move in this instance. And if you want to, here's another point for you guys. I'm going to leave the link in the description. See if you can find the best move and see if it aligns with what I did in the game. This is for extra credit. You're not going to get any points for this, but just see if you can figure it out yourself. I'll let you pause the video right now. Alright, it's time to show you the best move in this scenario. And I was very proud of finding this move. It took me quite a while to find it. So first things first, I attacked the infantry to get vision first off, to see everything, to make sure I was ready to follow through with this plan. Then I move in my Antiair, one hit KO on this. He had no idea that was coming. Then I bring in the B-copter attack here. You might be wondering, why are you attacking with the B-copter right here instead of with the tank? It still hits a 1 KO. The reason why this is better, this is A+ material right here, is because I want to have my artillery in this forest later where it cannot be attacked. If I attack with the tank right there, it'll be in the way of this artillery and I won't be able to get it involved. So I bring in this tank over here. Some other random moves. I come in and attack this artillery right there. I break through. See, beautiful. Now all these tanks are covered by, these 2 tanks are covered by that artillery right there. But I'm not done. Blast over here. This part kind of shocked me. So, you know, imperfect information, whatever. Still a super powerful attack. But I kill off this recon, so he has limited vision. And now I plop another artillery covering these other tanks over here. So every single tank, this recon's gonna die. I mean, whatever. But every single tank and anti-air is covered by artillery fire in this instance. Everything is covered. And then I believe, yeah, I even feel feisty. I attack this infantry over here. And I have even more artillery coverage. I shift all my things over here. You know, front switching, whatever. Talk about it all this time. Strong side, weak side. But this is beautiful. There is no real good counterattack. He can fire with his artillery on this tank here, attack my anti-air, but whatever attack's going to get blasted by this. And then I'm going to kill this artillery. It's not hidden by a forest or anything. There's a mech over here. Like, there's nothing that's going to be able to defend. Another thing, I had my superpower, my Drake Rain, Typhoon, whatever you want to call it, was about to hit. And let's just see what happened. So, my opponent was just so overcome with this, he popped the Rachel Power because it was just scary. Got some good rolls. Managed to break through and attack this, but look, I have such a good infrastructure of artillery. Even the copter hit, like, it's a good roll there since it's luck based. Like, a lot of stuff happens, but it holds. This wall right here holds. Yo, great luck roll right there. Doesn't matter the luck, because I have the artillery ready to prime to fire, etc. Like, so I just want to show you what it's like to plan. See, it could have been maybe not an A+, because I probably should have known about this artillery over here, although it would have hit the anti-air anyway. But you have imperfect information after all. But going from finding a B- move to a B+ move to an A move, that is what you use the move planner for. You might be able to find your own great move on your own, but the move planner will help you reach that next level. Basically, the move planner is what it allowed me to get over the 300 or 1300 gap in rating. Like, I didn't use the move planner at all up to 1300. I started using it. That's what gave me that final push. But you don't need to be that high up to get some good effect out of it. Like Lom, the game earlier, he was rated 900. He gave me a run for my money early on. I was like, what the heck? He's playing like an 1100. Like, what's going on here? Like, that was a really good infantry cutoff move. So don't be, intimidated by the move planner. It might seem very complex. I mean, you have like 7 days usually to conduct your moves. Why not use your time wisely? Use the move planner. Get those from those D moves, C moves to get at least a nice, strong, solid B. Even an A move would be fantastic. So I highly recommend you use the move planner, whether it be fog, whether it be standard play. Heck, I didn't even go into the whole covering fire thing. I was using the move planner for covering fire to make sure my infantry were together. Didn't matter in the end because he uses the power instead. But still, you want to use the move planner. That is basically my whole thing, my whole speaking point here. And this is an example of how to break through an infantry wall. And the Lom example is how to create an infantry wall. See, this is also, he didn't really have the infantry feed over here. So he didn't have the 2 main pillars of an infantry wall. There was not the infantry feed that he probably would want. I mean, there's a little bit of a support feed, but the Drake Typhoon also kind of negates that. That's a whole nother thing. But the most important thing, there was multiple avenues for attack. I was able to attack from this river over here when he did not expect it. You need to have that completely sealed. Say if I didn't have a copter there, then it would be completely sealed. Maybe if this infantry over here on this silo, it would not be 1-hit KO'd by a anti-air. So just making sure you have the infantry feed, and that you have everything, all the gaps are filled, so opponent can't break through, because I had a very strong breakthrough in the turn, and that is what allowed such a strong attack. Anyway, I hope you've learned a lot. I think it's personally fun to mess around with the move planner. If you tally up your scores right now, I'll provide a little card which will tell you how well you did. So, hope you did well. Hope you're learning. Hope to see you next time on the next series, In the Weeds with Deej. Bye.